The metal room was cold and bright, filled with soft blue lights that hummed like quiet insects. 5 alien researchers stood in a circle, each one staring at the human lying on the table. They had never seen a human before. They had only heard stories about a strange species that could survive fire, storms, sickness, and even war. But none of them ever imagined they would capture a real one. The human lay unconscious, his ship having crashed near their outpost only an hour ago. His clothes were damaged, his body bruised, but he was breathing. His chest moved up and down in a slow rhythm. The aliens whispered to each other, each one anxious and unsure. Commander Rilvar, tall and strict, looked down at the human with serious eyes. "Be careful," he warned. "We do not know how dangerous this creature is. Humans are unpredictable." Dr. Senra, small and nervous, lifted her scanner and pointed it at the human's body. The scanner beeped once, then twice, then suddenly froze. Senra blinked at the screen. "Something is strange," she whispered. "There is movement." Inside his clothing, everyone stepped back. Movement? The youngest trainee, Kira, nearly dropped her tablet. "Commander, is it a parasite? Is the human infected? Is it going to burst out?" Rilvar frowned and leaned closer. He saw a small bump rise under the human's clothing, then move slightly to the side, then stop. The bump moved again. Slow, alive. Every alien in the room froze like statues. "What is that?" Senra whispered, her hands shaking. The bump moved again, this time stronger. Kira screamed. "It's a snake! It's a snake living inside the human. I told you humans were weird." Another researcher, Jorik, slapped a hand over Kira's mouth. "Be quiet. You'll wake it." Commander Rilvar took a deep breath, trying to stay calm, but even he had never seen something like this. His eyes narrowed as the bump shifted again, more aggressively this time, like something was trying to escape. "Scan again," he ordered. Senra scanned, and the scanner's lights flickered rapidly. Then the device let out a strange alarm, a sound none of them had ever heard before. The screen flashed red. Life form detected. Location, lower body region, classification, unknown. Jorik stumbled back. "It's alive. Commander, we should run. What if it jumps out?" The aliens surrounded the table, weapons shaking in their hands. They aimed at the moving spot under the human's clothes, terrified that something dangerous might emerge. The human groaned softly. Everyone froze again. His fingers twitched. His head moved slightly. The room became silent, so silent that even their own breathing sounded loud. The human slowly opened one eye, confused and half-conscious. He blinked at the bright light above him. "Oh no," Kira whispered. "It's waking up. And the snake is moving again." The bump slid to the side once more. The human looked down, and then sighed loudly, looking embarrassed even though he barely understood where he was. The aliens misunderstood the sigh. They thought he was warning them. Rilvar shouted, "Prepare yourself. The human is communicating with the parasite." The human raised both hands weakly. Hey. Calm down. What is all this?" The aliens took a step back. They whispered among themselves. Jorik whispered, "Commander, the human is talking to the creature." Senra whispered back, "It might be telling it to attack." The human, still confused, rubbed his forehead. He tried to sit up, but the alien screamed and jumped back as the movement under his clothing shifted again. Kira hid behind a chair. "Commander, it's angry. Look, it's moving faster now." Indeed, the bump moved more aggressively, causing even the human to feel embarrassed and frustrated. He groaned, "This is not what you think." But the aliens could not understand human biology. They only saw a creature moving under a living body, and they believed it was some kind of dangerous symbiotic life form. Rilvar pointed his weapon at the bump. "Human, stay still. We will remove the creature from your body." The human's face turned pale. No, 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 you don't want to do that. The aliens panicked even more. See, it is warning us. Senra shouted. The human tried to explain, but he did not know their language, and they did not know his. Every gesture he made looked suspicious. Every word he spoke sounded like a threat. Every movement the Bumpa made created even more terror. The room was filled with fear, confusion, and misunderstanding. The aliens believed they had discovered a dangerous new species. The human believed he was trapped with a group of scientists who were about to make the most embarrassing mistake in galactic history, and the strange movement continued. A mystery to the aliens, a nightmare for the human. And the beginning of a story none of them would ever forget. The alarm lights in the room changed from blue to orange, filling the space with a warm but tense glow. Every alien scientist stared at the human like he was a ticking bomb. The human, still confused and half awake, looked from face to face, trying to understand why everyone was holding weapons. He lifted his hands slowly. Okay. Calm down. What's happening? Of course, none of them understood a single word. To them, the human's soft voice sounded like strange coded signals. Kira whispered, "Commander, he is speaking to the creature again. He must be giving it orders." Rilvar held his weapon tighter. The human noticed the weapons and began to panic too. Whoa, hey, no weapons. No shooting. The aliens jumped backward as the bump under the human's clothing moved again. The human winced. He knew exactly what was happening, and this was the worst possible moment for it. Senra shouted, "The parasite is active. He is controlling it." No, the human tried to explain. "I'm not controlling anything. This is normal." The room filled with louder whispers. Jorik shook his head, terrified. Normal? How can this be normal? The aliens truly believed something was living inside him, some small animal or snake-like creature that humans carried for protection. Their species had no understanding of human anatomy at all. On their world, nothing ever moved or changed shape under the skin. Their biology was simple and predictable. Humans, on the other hand, looked like chaos. Rilvar stepped forward carefully, as if approaching a trap. "Human," he said in a firm tone, even though the human understood nothing. "We are here to help you. But we must remove the creature." The human shook his head violently. No removing. It's not a creature." The aliens believed he was refusing treatment. That made them think the parasite was dangerous. Senra whispered, "Commander, what if the creature controls him? What if it is forcing him to protect it?" Rilvar nodded slowly. "Then the human is a victim. We must free him." Kira held up her scan tablet. "Commander," she said, "look at the scans. The creature's blood flow is connected to the human. It shares warmth, but its structure is different. Maybe it hides deep inside and comes out only during danger." Senra gasped. "A survival weapon? Built into the human body?" The human buried his face in his hands. "This is a nightmare." Jorik took a step closer to examine the human. The movement bumped again, soft but noticeable. Jorik froze. "Commander, I think the creature is looking at me. It does not have eyes." Rilvar snapped, "You don't know that." The room erupted in argument. Each alien had a different theory. Kira believed it was a snake. Senra believed it was a biological tool. Jorik believed it was a tiny monster ready to attack. Rilvar believed it was a parasite that controlled humans. And the human believed he would die from shame before he died from aliens. He raised his voice again. "Listen, it's not a creature. It's just a normal part of me." The aliens looked at each other. Senra whispered, "Commander, does he mean humans have creatures living inside them all the time?" Kira shivered. "That's horrible." The human rubbed his forehead. I need to find a way to explain this. He pointed to himself and said slowly, "It's me, not creature." The aliens nodded thoughtfully, then the bump moved again. Kira screamed. Jorik dropped his weapon. Senra hid behind her scanner. Rilvar shouted, "The creature is rejecting him. It wants to break free." The human nearly cried. No, please stop saying that." Rilvar raised a hand. "Calm, everyone calm." He looked at the human again with serious eyes. "Human, we will not harm you. But we must understand. We must learn what you are." He tapped his communicator. "Prepare the observation chamber. We need full analysis." Senra nodded. "Should we sedate him again?" The human stood up quickly, terrified. No sleeping gas. No needles." The aliens watched his reaction and quickly made a new conclusion. Kira whispered, "Commander, the creature does not like sedation." Rilvar nodded. "Then sedation is dangerous. We keep him awake." The human felt like screaming. A medical bed on wheels entered the room, pushed by two assistants. They gestured for the human to lie down. He refused. But when the bump moved again, he sighed heavily and sat on the bed himself, holding his face in shame. As they pushed him toward the observation room, the aliens took notes, whispering excitedly, "Fascinating, terrifying. A living creature inside a living creature. Humans are strange." The human stared at the ceiling, wishing the floor would swallow him. The misunderstanding wasn't getting smaller. It was getting bigger. Much bigger. And the aliens believed they were about to discover the most mysterious biological secret in the galaxy. The doors of the observation chamber opened with a slow metallic sound. The human was pushed inside on a moving bed, while the aliens followed him in a perfect formation like soldiers escorting a dangerous creature to prison. The room was larger than the first one, with crystal screens, holographic charts, bright white lights, and strange medical machines that hummed softly. The human swallowed hard. "Okay, this is getting out of control," he whispered to himself. From behind a glass wall, Commander Rilvar and the rest of the team watched him like he was some wild animal. They wore protective suits now thick, shiny, and extremely overprepared. Even Kira had a helmet twice the size of her head. "Begin observation," Rilvar ordered. The lights brightened. A scanner above the bed activated and started passing soft blue waves over the human's body. The human raised an eyebrow. "At least this one doesn't involve needles," he muttered. Kira stared at her screen. "Commander, the creature is still there." Senra nodded. "It moved again. Look, tiny shift, 4 centimeters to the left." Jorik gulped. "Is it thinking?" The human heard none of this, but he could feel their nervous energy through the glass. He sat up and raised both hands. "Listen, everyone. I need you to understand something." Of course, the aliens didn't understand a word, but his soft tone and calm gestures made them lower their fear just a little. Senra said, "Commander, he is trying to communicate." "Record everything," Rilvar replied. "This may be the first direct human-to-alien communication in history." The human pointed to himself. "This is me." He tapped his chest. "Human." He pointed to the moving bump and sighed deeply. "This is not a creature." The aliens leaned closer. Kira whispered, "Commander, he is naming the creature." Rilvar nodded wisely. "Yes, he calls it not a creature. Write that down." Senra typed quickly. "Possible name. Maybe a warning." The human's eye twitched. No name. It's just normal. Part of me." The aliens watched closely as he made confused gestures. He pointed at his arm and said, "Me." He pointed at the bump and repeated, "Me." Kira gasped. "Commander, he claims it is him." Rilvar stared at the screens. A powerful parasite that merges with the host, becoming one mind. The human slapped his own forehead. They're not getting it. He thought fast. He needed a better way to communicate. He looked around the room, searching for something simple, something universal. Then he saw a small hologram board floating near the wall. It displayed simple shapes used for alien medical diagrams. He pointed at the hologram shapes, drawing their attention. The aliens watched curiously as he selected a circle and pointed to himself. Human. He selected another circle and pointed to the bump. Also human. He merged the circles together on the hologram. Same one. The aliens gasped loudly. Senra whispered in shock, "Commander, he is telling us that the parasite and the human are one creature. Two bodies in one." Rilvar nodded slowly. A dual organism. Fascinating. The human dropped the hologram tool and covered his face again. No, no, no. This is hopeless. The bump under his clothes moved slightly again, soft, natural, but enough to make every alien scream and jump away from the glass. The human groaned into his hands. "Please, stop reacting like that." Jorik shakily asked, "Commander, what if the parasite is trying to communicate too?" Kira gasped dramatically and pressed her face to the glass. "Creature, if you understand us, tap once." The human stared at her. The bump moved slightly again. Kira screamed. "It understands." Senra fainted. Rilvar slammed both hands against the control panel. "This is the greatest biological discovery of the century." The human wanted to run away. Instead, he lifted his hands and took a deep breath. "Okay, new plan." He pointed to his head. "Brain." Then to his chest. "Heart." Then to the bump. "Normal." The aliens recorded everything. Kira whispered, "Commander, he has 3 brains." "No," the human said, shaking his head violently. "No brains. No heart, no extra anything." Senra woke up slowly on the floor. "Commander, I had a dream." The human had a monster living in him. "It was not a dream," Rilvar replied. The human looked around desperately. "How do I explain this?" After a moment, he stood on the bed and made a brave gesture. He stretched his arms wide. "Human body normal." The alien stared. He repeated, louder. "Human body normal." Rilvar stroked his chin. "Maybe the creature has taken full control of his mind." Jorik nodded. "Yes, it is now speaking through him." The human dropped to his knees. "I give up." But then, unexpectedly, something changed. Kira picked up her tablet and said softly, "Commander." His voice tone, his movements, they do not feel dangerous. Maybe we are misunderstanding something. Rilvar raised an eyebrow. The human heard her tone. He looked up slowly. Kira touched the glass. "Maybe we should try to learn, instead of assuming." Rilvar sighed. Perhaps. For the first time, the human felt a tiny spark of hope. Maybe. Just maybe. Someone was finally ready to listen, and the galaxy's strangest misunderstanding was one step closer to being solved, but only if they had enough patience to continue the observation. Chamber stayed bright and silent for a long moment. The human sat on the edge of the bed, breathing slowly, while the alien stared at him through the glass wall. Something had changed. Their fear was still there, but now it was mixed with curiosity and a small spark of respect. Commander Rilvar stepped forward. "We will continue," he said calmly, "but we must study him carefully. We need answers." Kira nodded eagerly. "Yes, Commander. And maybe we should talk with him in simple signs. He seems willing to explain." Senra stood up, still dizzy from fainting. "Commander, we should move him to the main research hall. There we have better tools for communication and stronger safety shields." The human heard the words research hall and shields, even though he didn't understand the language. The way the aliens looked at him, like he was a rare creature in a zoo, made him nervous. He stood up slowly, raising both hands. "Okay, let's just stay calm, all right?" The aliens nodded, but their nods were full of scientific excitement like children discovering a new toy. Within minutes, the doors opened again, and a group of assistants rolled in a floating platform. They gestured for the human to step on it. He hesitated. Jorik whispered from behind the glass. "If the creature tries to escape, the platform will restrain him." The human sighed loudly. "I heard that. I think. I don't like that." But he had no choice. The aliens weren't trying to hurt him. They were simply terrified and confused. So he stepped onto the platform, and the assistants guided him into a new room. A hall full of scientists. The research hall was huge, so big that the human felt like he had entered a museum. Giant crystal screens floated in the air. Strange metal arms hung from the ceiling like robotic vines. Several aliens in different colored suits gathered in rows, each holding scanners, notebooks, or strange glowing orbs. The moment the human entered, the entire hall gasped. One alien whispered, "That's him. The dual organism human." Another said, "Incredible. The creature moves on its own." A third whispered, "I have waited my whole life to study this species." The human felt a wave of embarrassment wash over him. "Great," he mumbled. "I'm famous for all the wrong reasons." The platform stopped in the center of the hall. The aliens surrounded him in a careful circle, giving him space but watching his every move. Rilvar raised a hand, giving the official signal. "Begin Phase 2, Communication." Kira stepped forward, holding a glowing board. "Human," she said softly, trying to pronounce the word clearly. "We learn you." The human blinked. That sentence wasn't perfect, but he understood the meaning. "You want to learn about me?" Kira nodded happily. "Yes, learn. Understand. No hurt." The human finally relaxed a little. "Okay, good, that's better." Then the bump under his clothing moved again, very softly, barely noticeable. But to the aliens, it was like thunder. Half the scientists jumped back. One screamed. Another dropped his scanner. Senra nearly fainted again. Rilvar shouted, "Hold positions. Do not panic." The human pinched the bridge of his nose. "Please, it's just normal." Normal human body. Kira swallowed hard. Human body, very strange. "You have no idea," he muttered, trying to teach a whole room of aliens. The aliens brought out a hologram projector and displayed a simple outline of a human body. The drawing was wrong, very wrong. It had 3 arms, 4 lungs, and a tail. The human stared at it. "What is that supposed to be?" Senra pointed proudly. "Human." "That is not a human," he said. Jorik stepped forward. "Then, help? Teach?" The human nodded. He walked to the hologram, erased the extra limbs, and drew a simple stick figure. The aliens gasped like they were witnessing ancient magic. He pointed at his arms. "Tu." The aliens repeated, "Tu'u." He pointed at his legs. "Tu." They nodded again. He pointed at the bump under his clothing. Then hesitated. This is where the, confusion is happening. The aliens leaned closer, ready to take notes. The human raised both hands. "But listen carefully. It is not a creature. It is not a weapon. It is not alive by itself. It is, how do I say this, part of human biology." The aliens whispered excitedly. Kira asked, "So, creature is human tool?" "No." Jorik said, "Creature is human weapon?" "No," Senra gasped. "Creature is human baby?" The human slapped his forehead. "No." The aliens wrote down every word anyway. The human gains their trust, Even with all the misunderstandings, something important happened in that hall. The research hall was finally calm. For the first time since the crash, the human felt like things were improving. The aliens were no longer hiding behind shields or pointing weapons at him. They listened to his gestures, watched his drawings, and even tried to copy human words with their strange accents. Kira stepped closer with her glowing board. "Human, teach more?" The human nodded. "Yes, I'll teach slowly. One step at a time." But before he could start, the lights in the hall flickered. Once, twice, then all at once, everything turned red. A loud alarm echoed through the entire facility, shaking the floor beneath them. Strange symbols flashed on every screen, and the aliens froze where they stood. Rilvar's voice boomed across the hall, heavy and urgent. "Enemy ships detected. Unknown number. Unknown class." The human stiffened. Enemy ships? He didn't understand their language perfectly, but he understood that word, the tone, the panic, the fear. Every species reacted the same way when danger approached. Kira looked around with wide eyes. No. Not today. Not now. Senra ran to the nearest console. "Commander, they are fast. Too fast. We cannot outrun them." Jorik whispered, "We have no defenses ready." We were not expecting an attack. The human stepped off the platform. "What enemy? Who is coming?" Nobody answered him, because the aliens were too busy panicking. Rilvar shouted, "Research teams fall back. Protective shields active. Prepare evacuation." The human grabbed Kira's arm gently. "Kira, enemy who? Who is coming?" She trembled as she whispered the name, her voice almost breaking. "Hunters. They hunt species for trophies, and they hunt your kind the most." The human felt cold. He had heard of creatures like this, violent raiders who collected living beings as prizes. If they were coming here, then he was the target. The bump under the human's clothing moved slightly. The alien screamed, thinking the parasite reacted to danger, but the human ignored them this time. "We need to hide." Senra shouted, "We need to run." Jorik added. Rilvar raised his voice. "We do not run. We defend. Prepare shield charge." Kira shook her head. "Commander, our shield will break. They are too strong." The human stepped forward. "Let me help." The alien stared at him. Senra whispered, "Help? With what?" Rilvar frowned. "Human. This is not your fight." But the human shook his head firmly. "If they are coming for me, then I should be the one to stop them." The aliens exchanged nervous glances. Kira whispered, "Human. Too dangerous. They kill, they burn, they destroy. You will die." The human pointed at himself. "Humans don't run easily. We fight when needed." Then he walked toward the control platform in the center of the hall. The aliens followed him slowly, watching every move. He pointed at a hologram of the facility. "Show me entrances." Senra tapped her panel, and the diagram expanded. The human saw 3 entry points, 2 side tunnels, and 1 main gate connected to the outer forest. He nodded. "Okay, good. We can use the terrain." The aliens blinked. "Terrain? Humans think like this during danger." The human continued. "Your base is built into a hill. You have higher ground. That is good. If we force them into narrow passages, their numbers won't help." Rilvar raised an eyebrow. "Human, you understand battle?" The human nodded with a calm, focused expression. "I survived 2 wars. I survived a crash. I can survive this." Kira whispered, "He is not strange. He is brave." Jorik nodded slowly, "Maybe. Humans are fighters by nature." The human explained using simple drawings and gestures, pointing at choke points, blocking passages, using energy panels as shields, stacking crates for cover, and funneling attackers into controlled zones. The aliens watched with shock. It was the first time they saw the human not as a mystery, but as a protector. Rilvar looked at the human with new respect. "We follow your plan. All units prepare defensive lines." The hall erupted into movement. Aliens grabbed tools, activated drones, and rushed to their stations. Kira and Senra stayed beside the human, waiting for instructions. He pointed at the main gate. "I will take that one." Kira panicked. "Alone?" "Yes," the human said. "They want me. I will slow them down." Senra whispered, "You are injured." "Tired." He shook his head. "I'm human." We get up. We keep moving. As he walked toward the armored corridor leading to the gate, the red lights flashed brighter, warning that the enemy ships were almost there. Kira called out softly, "Human, be careful." He looked back with a small, determined smile. "Don't worry. Humans are full of surprises." The bump under his clothes shifted again, almost like it was agreeing. And the aliens, for the first time since the crash, didn't scream. Instead, they believed in him. Because in this moment, humans were no longer confusing creatures. They were warriors. They were protectors. They were hope. The corridor leading to the main gate was long and dim, lit only by flashing red alarms. Each step the human took echoed through the metal walls. He could hear distant rumbling enemy ships landing. Dust fell from the ceiling. The ground trembled. The hunters were here. The human clenched his fists. "Okay," he whispered. "Time to do something useful." Behind him, Kira, Senra, and Jorik watched nervously from the control balcony. Thick shields separated them from danger, but their eyes remained locked on the human's back. Kira whispered, "Why is he walking alone? Why not wait for us?" Senra answered softly, "He said it. They want him. If he stands with us, we all risk dying." Jorik shook his head in disbelief. "Humans, are they always like this? Always ready to face danger alone?" Rilvar stood behind them, arms crossed. "I do not know. But this one is special." The gate trembles. The human reached the main gate. It was a massive metal door, twice his height, shaking as something heavy slammed into the other side. He took a deep breath. Outside, muffled roars echoed through the forest. The hunters were growling, preparing to break through. He knew their kind: tall, armored, powerful. They hunted life forms for trophies, and humans were their hardest target. To kill a human meant honor among their kind. He checked the equipment he had borrowed. A small energy shield. A short-range stun rod. One flashlight. No gun, no armor. Almost nothing. He laughed at his own situation. Typical. Humans always start with almost nothing. Bang! The gate cracked. The human stood ready, eyes cold, breath steady. Bang! The crack grew. Inside the control room, Senra shouted, "Commander! The shield on the gate is collapsing." Rilvar gripped the console. "Hold positions. Trust the human." Kira pressed her hands against the glass, whispering, "Please. Be safe." The gate breaks with one final violent slam. The metal gate exploded inward. Smoke filled the corridor. The air trembled. Heavy footsteps echoed. The hunters entered. Tall, dark-skinned, armored with bone plates. Yellow eyes glowing. Massive claws scraping the floor. Their breathing sounded like deep growls. The lead hunter barked something in his own language. The human understood only one word: human. They had come for him. He stepped forward. "Yeah, I'm here." The hunters charged. The human activated his energy shield. A glowing blue disc formed in front of him, small but strong enough to block the first claw strike. The impact threw him backward. Sliding across the floor, pain shot through his arm. He rolled to the side just as another hunter, smashed down where he had fallen. The aliens watching screamed. Kira covered her mouth. Jorik grabbed Senra to keep her from fainting again. The human got back up, breathing hard. No time to stop. Keep moving. Another hunter swung at him. The human dodged, slammed the stun rod into the creature's knee, and the alien giant stumbled. The rod sparked, sending a burst of electricity into its leg. The humans watching from above gasped. "Commander!" Kira shouted. He heard it. He actually heard it. Rilvar's eyes widened. He is not fighting with strength. He is fighting with skill. One human versus many. The corridor filled with chaos, claws, metal, dust, roars, footsteps, blue sparks. The human moved like someone trained by hardship, not by science. He ducked, turned, kicked off a wall, slid under a massive arm, and struck the weak points, joints, teeth, eyes, ankles. His attacks weren't strong, but they were smart. He fought like someone who had learned to survive when everything was against him. One hunter fell. Another staggered. A third roared in anger, but there were more coming. The human panted, sweat dripping. His arm shook. The shield flickered. The stun rod heated up. He knew he couldn't hold forever, but he looked back at the base behind him, the scientists, the researchers. Kira, Senra, Jorik, Rilvar, even the misunderstanding. Even the embarrassment. They didn't deserve to die. He took another stance. "Come on," he said. "I'm still here." The hunters roared and attacked again. Aliens realized the truth in the control room. The aliens were speechless. Senra whispered, "He is injured." "Yet he still fights." Jorik murmured, "He is outnumbered." "Still standing." Kira's voice shook. "He fights. To protect us." Rilvar closed his eyes for a moment. Then he spoke softly. "Now I understand the old stories. Humans are not dangerous because of biology. Humans are dangerous because of their will." The turning point, the human staggered as a massive blow hit his shoulder. He crashed into the wall, gasping. Blood dripped from his lip. His shield finally failed. Disappearing in a spark, the lead hunter raised his claws for the final strike. The alien screamed, but the human stood. Again, wobbling, bleeding, exhausted, but alive. He looked the hunter in the eyes and whispered, "Humans don't quit." Then he charged, bare hands. No shield, no weapon. Just determination. And the corridor exploded into chaos once more. The human's final charge shook the entire corridor. Even without weapons, without armor, without strength left in his body, he moved forward like a storm, unpredictable, desperate, and full of stubborn courage. The lead hunter swung its massive claws downward, but the human ducked and rolled beneath the creature's arm. Pain shot through his ribs, but he forced himself to keep moving. A second hunter reached for him. The human jumped back, grabbed a loose metal pipe from the broken gate, and swung it with all the force he had left. The pipe cracked against the hunter's wrist. Not strong enough to break bone, but strong enough to distract it. The hunters growled, confused. No creature they had hunted ever fought this hard after taking so much damage. The human panted heavily, leaning on the pipe. "Come on, just a little more." Inside the control room, Kira felt tears forming. She slammed a hand on the glass. "Please stop. He will die." Jorik whispered, "He cannot win. Not like this." But Rilvar's eyes burned with determination. "He is not fighting to win. He is fighting to give us time." Kira turned to him. "Time for what?" "Time for us. To help." The moment everything changes below them, the human collapsed to one knee. The pipe slipped from his hand. His breath came in broken gasps. The hunters closed in, raising their claws for the final strike. The human whispered, "Not yet. Not done." But his body refused to stand. A hunter lifted him by the collar, ready to break him. Then the lights in the corridor burst into brilliant white. A deep hum vibrated through the metal walls. A wave of energy washed over the battlefield. The hunters snarled and covered their eyes. Stepping backward, the human blinked in confusion. What? In the control room, Rilvar shouted, "All forces activate Unity Shield." A huge transparent barrier formed between the hunters and the human. The barrier pushed the creatures back with a forceful pulse that made them stagger. The human fell to the floor. Exhausted, but alive, Kira ran to the exit. "Open the door. He needs us." The door slid open, and Kira sprinted down the corridor with Senra and Jorik close behind. They reached the human and dropped to their knees beside him. Kira grabbed his shoulders. "Human, human. Stay awake." He gave a weak smile. "You came out? Even with the hunters still here?" Jorik answered, "You fought to protect us. Now it is our turn." Senra scanned him quickly. "He is losing strength. We need to carry him back." The human tried to get up but collapsed. Kira slipped under his arm and supported him. "It's okay. You did enough. More than enough." Behind them, Rilvar walked forward, shield in hand. Standing between his team and the hunters, he faced the creatures without fear. "This human is under our protection. If you want him," he raised his glowing shield, "you will face all of us." The hunters roared, but their confidence cracked. The Unity Shield was growing brighter, stronger, forming a solid barrier across the entire corridor. The lead hunters slammed against it, but bounced back with a painful shock. Jorik whispered, "Commander, the shield is working." Rilvar nodded. "Yes, because our systems needed time to charge. This human gave us that time." The hunters, realizing the odds had changed, stepped back slowly. Their roars turned into frustrated growls. Then, without warning, they retreated toward the forest. Their ships lifted off, engines roaring, leaving the base shaking once again. They were gone. The danger was over. A new understanding, the human lay on a medical bed as the aliens worked to treat his wounds. His body trembled with pain, but his heart felt strangely warm. These aliens who once feared him were now trying to save him. Kira held his hand. "You protected us. Why? We did not understand you. We made mistakes." The human smiled weakly. "Humans make mistakes too. But helping others, that's what humans do." Rilvar stepped forward. "Human, today you showed us your strength. But more important, you showed us your heart." The human blinked slowly. "I just did what anyone would do." "No," Rilvar said firmly. "Not anyone. Only a human." Senra added, "We want to learn more. Not just your biology, your mind, your courage." Jorik nodded. "We want peace, friendship." The human squeezed Kira's hand gently. "I'd like that." A new future. Days later, the base celebrated the defeat of the hunters. The aliens gathered around the human, offering food, gifts, and strange glowing crystals. They called him the Brave One, though he begged them to stop because it embarrassed him. They even updated their entire biology database. The human saw the new chapter title, Human Anatomy. Very strange, very confusing, but very brave. He laughed until his ribs hurt. Rilvar approached him with a small silver badge. "Human, our council decided something important. We want you to join us. We want you as our first human advisor and friend." The human's eyes widened. "Friend? Advisor? Me?" Kira smiled warmly. "Yes, you." He looked at the badge and then at the aliens around him. A human who was once feared was now respected. A human misunderstood was now trusted. A human alone had found a place among the stars. He took the badge softly. I accept. The aliens cheered. And the galaxy, once confused by the strange human, would soon learn just how powerful, loyal, and extraordinary humans truly were.